Have you finished Cold Harbor?
No.
And she's still alive.
The season 2 finale is one of my favorite things we've ever done on the show. There are tons of really explosive elements, and that's where it gets really fun.
The finale is stuffed, like a marching band. Mark having a scene with himself, a fight in the hallway, a murder in an elevator, and then the final choice in the hallway. It was so much fun to shoot, but it was a lot.
The finale is kind of its own movie. We tried to really push the bounds in terms of the tone of the action.
It just gets shot out of a cannon. It just doesn't stop. It's just one big event after another.
You'll kill them all!
There's somebody else who wants to talk to you, actually.
So 210 starts in the birthing cabin. This is something that I've been waiting to do since we started the show, which is if Innie and Outie Mark could actually talk to each other, what would they say?
I have to get my wife back, but I can't abandon her. And if you help me, I won't abandon you.
Innie Mark has been going through this whole journey of being able to claim his own sense of importance. And so when Outie Mark comes to him and basically says, I need something, that's not something that Innie Mark responds to well.
You know what I think? I think the second you get your wife back, you forget I ever existed.
These are high-stakes, emotionally charged situations that Adam has had to portray with Mark in terms of what his Innie and his Outie are dealing with. And from the beginning, he made such a clear choice on how his Innie was different than his Outie, and I think that he's just an incredibly gifted actor. You know, it's a very emotional arc, I think, for Adam this year.
And now, choreography and merriment!
The marching band was really crazy. We had talked about a couple of different Lumon-sanctioned celebrations that might happen after Mark finishes the Cold Harbor file. Of course, in season 1, there was the waffle party, and we didn't want to do something that was really in the same vein as that. Like, we wanted something that was really different. And at some point, somebody said, well, what about a marching band? And once that had been said, it was like, yeah, that's it. That's what it's going to be. There's certainly a higher level of violence in this episode than we've seen before, and the hope is that it feels earned. These are tensions that have been simmering for a long time, and so it all sort of comes out.
They give us half a life and think we won't fight for it.
We talk about the Macrodat uprising in the first episode, but this really is the beginning of that. And we don't know what's going to happen with Milchick, who's facing off with this marching band.
Fuck you, Mr. Milchick.
I gave them a band. I got them a band, 200-piece set band. Like, come on. And they still didn't appreciate it.
Jim? It's okay. I'm your husband.
One of my favorite elements of the finale is that you get 4 different dynamics between Mark and Gemma in a row. In the cradle room, he's seeing his wife for the first time in 2 years. She doesn't know him. And then we get this beautiful moment in the hallway where they are actually together, the 2 Outies. And then we get back, and for me, it was just fun to be able to see Miss Casey again in that moment.
What's taking place?
But then you end that with the final combination, which is Outie Gemma looking back at Innie Mark.
You have to go right now.
From the very beginning, the idea of the season was to get to this moment where Mark had to make a choice between Gemma and Helly. Who is he going to have an allegiance to, his Innie or his responsibility to his Outie?
Mark, we gotta go home!
It isn't until that moment that he pushes her through the door and is looking at her and realizing he has no feelings for this person. And then Helly calls his name.
Mark!
And then it's like, oh my God, if we just stay here, maybe we can be together another 10 minutes? Who knows? I don't think they're thinking more than 10 seconds into the future, but it was going into the unknown and never existing again, or going with Helly.
And then they hold hands and start running off into the sunset, but you know, the sunset is a white hallway with these red and white emergency lights and klaxons going off, and The end is really like what happens next. We have no idea what awaits them as they start running deeper into the halls of Lumon.
Curta o vídeo, inscreva-se no canal e ative o sininho para receber notificações sempre que novos conteúdos forem publicados. Assim, você não perde nenhuma novidade e fica por dentro de tudo que compartilhamos por aqui. Muito obrigado.